You won't believe what I'm about to tell you, but this is my story, and it's a true story. I have been detained in an African country. I don't know whether to laugh, smile, or cry, or feel, angry because I've been denied entry into Mozambique. If you travel and you experience things like this, sometimes it's frustrating. It feels like you need to give up on what you do. I have been deported in an African country, not just once, but twice. As I showed you, there's no photo. Like I was here. This is a vlogging camera. I just have to hold it everywhere I go, mommy. I showed you everything. No, they said I need to show what is the reason. I don't. And if you ask me what is the reason why I'm getting deported, I really don't. Because I came here. They didn't say I'm getting deported, going back to Ghana. I have no problem with that, but I want to know why. And the worst one that ever happened to me was the brawl that I had with immigration officers at the Togo-Ghana border. My goal on this channel is not to make any African country look bad. But the goal of this channel is to promote every single African country in a positive light to the world. The goal of this channel is to encourage more Africans to travel within their own continent, because I believe that Africa belongs to Africans and it's time for Africans to cherish it.
These borders that you create silos for yourselves amongst, you must always remember, are not your creation. These were creations of people outside of this continent who made these borders not to develop you, but to extract from you. Now that you want to develop yourself, we must start looking at these borders and we must start removing the barriers that we have put, that have defined us in the past, and now hinder us from being the giant that we should be.
Crossing borders from all the 28 countries.
Right.
How was it, man?
It's an adventure on its own.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
But you're an African.
Exactly.
And it's an adventure.
On its own.
How adventurous. Believe me or not, after traveling 36 countries in Africa, traveling in Africa sometimes feels like hell.
And at some point, I was detained a bit because they told me I was spying for the Ghana Armed Forces.
You were detained?
Yes.
In Africa? What is the most expensive visa you ever applied on the continent?
Cameroon.
How much did you pay for that?
I paid $200 for it.
Is Cameroon not part of West Africa? This is insane because I still can't believe that in 21st century, Africans have to go through a great struggle in order to go see their fellow brothers and sisters living in another African country.
To visit a fellow African within the African Union, the visa restrictions in many of our nations, among us, between our brothers and sisters, is like trying to brush the teeth of a crocodile.
Do you think Africans are scared of borderless Africa? My name is WODEMAYA, a young African on a journey to showcase the beauty of Africa to the rest of the world, but also to promote intra-travel Africa for Africans within Africa. But one thing that I really discovered after traveling to 34 African countries is that it's so difficult for an African to travel Africa. And that is why I decided to champion the Borderless Africa movement.
From Cape Town to Cairo, Senegal to Somalia, WODEMAYA shows Africa. Na, 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 na.
But one thing that I noticed is that Africa is not borderless. In Botswana, dancing from music from Namibia.
So I don't think that Africans want borders. The borders that actually divide houses, part of your family home is in Aflao and the other half in Lome. Is that what we want?
So I decided to champion a borderless Africa mission just to ensure that young Africans can wake up today, go to their neighboring country just to find a wife, and if they don't find a wife, they can actually go to another country to eat and explore. This particular video means a lot to me. That is why I've taken my time to put a lot of pieces together. So you know what you need to help me. Let's create more awareness on the continent of Africa to allow free movement of people and goods. Can you like this video now? Thank you. Have you subscribed yet? Subscribe to be part of this 2 million awesome family. Thank you. And most importantly, click on the share button. And if you can, tag your president in this video. Or if you have his phone number, send it to his WhatsApp.
Open borders now! Open borders now! Open borders now! Open borders now! Open borders now!
One thing that really stands out about Africans, when you travel in Africa, you are well received. You feel at home in every corner, just like me. I'm a Kenyan living in Ghana, and I feel right at home.
Which country was your most hospitable moment, man?
I would like to categorize this.
Okay.
In terms of the general welcoming atmosphere, I will give it to the warm heart of Africa. Malawi.
That is one thing that you can never take it from Africans. I mean, I quite remember when I found myself in Uganda, I was received more like a president. I mean, should I talk about my experiences in Malawi and Lesotho? The people really embraced me as one of their own. Of course! Oh my goodness! They love me out here in Lesotho, man. It makes me feel like I can call everywhere in Africa as my home. Because wherever I go, the people just embrace me. Hi! That is how Africans make you feel whenever you find yourself in their countries. They just love you. One question that I really want to ask each and every African that is watching this video is that, why is it so difficult for an African to travel to another African country?
My name is Xavier Daite Tulasi Humphreyson. I'm a Ghanaian motorcycle enthusiast. Over the last couple of months, I've been on the road across Africa, covering at least 28 countries on a motorbike. It had not been an easy adventure. It's been very tough, very difficult, but I was able to do it.
But can you describe, I mean, how beautiful Africa is across all the 28 countries that you went through?
I mean, if I have a word to describe Africa, it's just one. Africa is awesome. You never get to experience the awesomeness and the beauty of the continent until you travel.
Which country was your best moment?
Namibia.
Which country will you say was your most challenging?
There were a couple of countries that really challenged me on this trip, but I would say Senegal really challenged me a lot, mainly because of how the border crossing went.
Oh wow!
Sorry? What does that mean? What is safer? My brother? No, I don't have that amount.
What?
I don't have that amount.
And that?
Everything is fine.
No, tu vas pas me dire.
No, if you don't pay, they will not allow you to cross.
why am I paying? What is wrong with the passport?
No, even the passport, even me.
Maybe you pay when you go to Canada, you pay.
Even the passport, you have to
No, I'm asking, what is that standard to pay for stamp?
Yeah, no, they will pay.
Because this is a West African passport.
This is Senegal, I'm a Ghanaian. ECOWAS passport, you're asking me for money. That's why I'm asking you, what did I do? What is the problem? It's not about the money. It's not about the money, I just want to know why.
Our borders have now become avenues for extortion.
What do you pay for, actually? But I don't know, till now. All the way from Benin, I still don't understand why we're paying that money. I don't know if it's official, I don't know if it's not official. All I know that in every border, they keep asking us for...
So if you're trying to make an account now, to let's say you have an employer, you're trying to make an account, what you go tell us you pay for?
I'll say, I'll put it under bribe.
Can you share your African border experience with me in the comment section or any of your social media platform, and make sure you tag me because I am going to be there to read it. I mean, it's about time for Africa to be borderless. It's about time to allow free movement of Africans within Africa. And this is what I have a problem because I believe that so many Africans don't even understand when it comes to the word borderless Africa. Because what I understand is that whenever you try to talk about borderless Africa, a lot of Africans are scared because of our security. Borderless does not mean that cut down the borders.
So a borderless Africa doesn't have to mean chaos. If the right policies are in place, we can have both open borders and protection.
There's one African passport. That's what it means, okay? And one African passport may mean that I still hold my Ghana passport, but it's first and foremost an AU passport. It may have Ghana on it, but it's an AU passport. And it means that I can travel across the continent with it, or I can travel across the continent with my ID card. I don't need a visa, okay? That's the first thing about borderless Africa. Borderless Africa means that I can apply for a job in any country. And when I get a job, I can move there. And I don't need to apply for citizenship and the rest of it. I can begin the process of acting like a citizen. You may not allow me to vote, it may not matter to me that much. A borderless Africa means you can get up and go and set up business wherever you want, so long as you can create a market for it. A borderless Africa means that there will be no customs at the borders who extort money from us.
Rwanda currently offers visa-free for all Africans visiting the country, and business is really booming. Your Excellency, why can't all countries in Africa follow the suit?
In ECOWAS, we have it. ECOWAS, if you fly into Nigeria, you don't need a visa. I agree with you that the borders and the parochial things that the people do there it's not sanctioned. I mean, these are corrupt individuals who try to take advantage of a situation. Otherwise, in ECOWAS, we should be able to travel to and from each other's countries without paying anything, the passport control or whatever control is just for record purposes and to capture the statistics of how people go back and forth. But otherwise, you're not supposed to pay anything. And I do think that we should sanction people like that.
I feel like it's so difficult for an African to travel within Africa. Do you feel the same way?
Yes, I do, and I suffer it. And I just got back from Namibia, and obviously there's no direct flight from Accra to Windhoek, so I had to go through Joburg. And I used 2 passports. From Accra to Windhoek, it was easier for me to apply online with my Ghanaian passport. But to get through Joburg, it was easier to use a British passport.
So, which means that even in Africa, our passports are useless.
In some places, I wouldn't go as far as say useless, but in some places, using European passport gives you easy access from one African country to the other.
The saddest part of the visa restrictions among Africans is the fact that even in Africa, animals move freely than Africans themselves. Because I was in Masai Mara, and it was easy for the animals to move from Masai Mara to Serengeti, and from Serengeti back to Masai Mara. Africa was partitioned, divided by Europeans. Have you ever been to Europe? Do you live in Europe? Is it so difficult for you to travel within Europe with your Schengen visa or your European passport?
I lived in Europe when they created the EU. I lived in Europe, and before that, even driving, it was difficult for me to drive from Berlin West to Berlin East. And I lived in Europe, and I could drive. As kids, sometimes we used to drive maybe from Duisburg or from Düsseldorf in Germany to Amsterdam to go and party. But you go through borders. And I lived and saw that I could drive from Germany all the way to France without stopping at any border.
I love how it's so cool to travel from one country to another in Europe with just one visa. And I'm just hoping that my continent can learn from this, man.
This is my dream one day. See, this thing happening in Africa. We have our differences, but we have to find together to come to. These white people have their differences.
Exactly.
They have some part there, they don't like them if we are living here. Here they have the rich land, like rich developing country, not rich, developing country and poor countries. You know what I'm saying? And the other borders in about 2 and the people who are planning, planning what about 2
and we are still feeding on the borders
that were
created by
see, you go to Uganda, they see you like they see their brother. They are fighting you. They will leave this foreigners, this like Chinese, and we're sorry to say this thing. Oh, I'm just down confirm. Yeah. Me
that I look like you.
You know.
Some African countries decided to impose visas on other African countries. But the question that I really want to ask, why is it so expensive to apply for visas within Africa? Listen, for instance, when I was going to Congo, I had to pay $250 just to apply for visa for Congo. How much does the visa fees cost to go to Congo?
$250 for 3 months once you go in.
And what about multiple entry?
$300.
Multiple entry is $300.
Yeah.
Okay. Which one is the $400? Because I'm seeing $400 on the internet.
The $400 for 6 months. That one goes with the multiple entries.
And to the people of Congo, it's more like a reciprocal for what Ghana did to them. Which country was the hardest visas to get?
It was, I would say Botswana, because
Jesus Christ! Across my travels in Africa, one of the hardest visas that I've ever acquired is the visa to Botswana. It took me literally 2 years for me to get my visa. And even that 2 years, what made it so easy because I made a post like this. And after this post, that is when my visa was granted. But I've seen a lot of people complaining about why is it so difficult to apply for visa to Botswana as an African.
I didn't get mine at all.
Oh, wow! So how did you enter the country?
I didn't go.
As I speak to you right now, other countries within the continent have tried to come up with a solution to this problem. Have you heard of the Kaza visa?
If you have a Kaza visa, you're using the same visa, you can enter Botswana, you can enter Zambia, you can enter Zimbabwe. So it's a joint visa between 3 countries.
Yeah, but
just to help clients, yeah.
But you won't believe that the Kaza visa, we from Africa, we don't qualify.
Don't tell me that.
I am serious, man.
You know about that, yeah?
Yeah.
Hey!
literally is the most confusing and interesting visa policy that I've ever had across my travels in Africa. So the Kaza word is more like 5 different countries coming together to create a common visa.
What we are doing as Kaza at the moment is we are working on promoting the Kaza Univisa. This is an initiative that started as far back as 2011-2012, and it targeted major source markets, and that has been implemented between Zambia and Zimbabwe, whereby a tourist from the designated source markets or countries can enter one of the 2 countries and then find their way, if they wish, into Botswana for a day trip to Chobe National Park and return to either Zambia or Zimbabwe.
But this Kaza visa is supposed to make it easier to travel within all these 5 countries. But the same Kaza visa is not for Africans. Can you believe it?
I think that it's because as a continent, we've not yet made those agreements on a diplomatic level, on a geopolitical level, that would make it easy for people to move around in that way. So the continent is sectioned off, if I can use that expression. There's ECOWAS, the Economic Community of West African States. There's the East African Community. There's SADC, which is a Southern African community. And within these blocks, it's relatively easy to move around. Like I was talking about my West African experience, for instance.
Yeah.
Yes. And so, but when you're trying to cross from one block to another, it really depends on that country and their rules. The truth is that there are a number of countries like Kenya who have opened their borders to all Africans to enter.
Kenya used to be visa-free for me as a Ghanaian, and I believe that it was visa-free for so many African countries until His Excellency made this speech that we all applauded for him.
Beginning January 2024, Kenya will be a visa-free country.
But unfortunately, he introduced ETA that made Kenya one of the difficult countries to enter. I mean, when I started going to Kenya, it was free, to the point that when he introduced the ETA, I had to pay $30 before I go to Kenya. But he complained, just like myself, and at the end of the day, he decided to take away the $30, but still maintain the ETA, and which makes travel to Kenya one of the most difficult things you will ever experience. Let me tell you something that you don't know. After the introduction of the ETA, it had a major effect on Kenya, because you won't believe that out of 54 countries in Africa, Kenya dropped from 17 to 46 position in terms of easy travels in Africa. This is crazy, man. When you are even applying for the ETA, they will tell you that the ETA does not support iPhones, so use Android. What if I don't have an Android?
These people, man, Ghanaian people, the best.
So when I met this brother from South Sudan, he arrived in Ghana because he thought it's visa-free for Africans coming to Ghana.
Like me, when I was coming here online, I was like, I'm gonna get free visa to enter Ghana. But reaching the airport, they said, oh, from South Sudan, $200 for the visa on arrival. Yeah.
You paid $200?
I paid $200.
That is not right, man.
$200 to get to Ghana, for them to stamp my passport. Otherwise, I'm gonna go back.
$200?
$200.
No, that's robbery, man.
To make it worse, I actually I budgeted my stay in Ghana with the 200. I thought maybe it's gonna be visa free for me, and I'm gonna spend the money traveling around and do other things. But now it's affecting me now.
And as a Ghanaian going to South Sudan, it was even way expensive than how much he paid. I paid $350 just to go to South Sudan.
Which is not
that is the challenge that Africans have to go through to explore their own continent. And I don't even know why our leaders are always quiet, because for an African to visit Africa and you have to pay $200, that's ridiculous, man. The restrictions of visa in Africa got no respect for any African, because even the richest man on the continent had to apply for 38 visas before he travels within his own continent.
Even an hour ago, I complained to President Kagame.
At least you can come here visa-free.
No, here is the best example, but I told him that, yes, as an investor, as somebody who really wants to make Africa great, I have to now apply 35 different visas on my passport. But you see, the most annoying thing is that, yes, if you are treating everybody the same, then I can understand. You know, I can assure you, Patrick doesn't need 35 visas. No, I said that. What I'm saying, you have.
You do not. You don't need 35 visas on a French passport compared to a Nigerian passport.
35 visas on French passport.
No.
But, you know, so which means you have a freer movement than myself in Africa.
Yeah.
So even Africa is difficult for the rich. How much more than us?
So now they have issued us with the African Union passport. About a few of us who've gotten the first.
3 of us.
Maybe 3 or 4.
How much did I have to pay for that?
No, I didn't pay anything.
Come on, I mean,
no.
But look, I mean, I haven't got one. I mean, I support the African Union. They didn't give me one.
But this same African Union passport, you know, I'm sorry, you know, since we're all talking very openly, but I was invited by the president of Angola to come and, you know, see him. And when I went there, I had to be given visa on African Union passport.
We also travel. We see a lot of challenges at the borders. You see, but you know, when other people are coming, like the whites, and so they're just coming, no problem. But as for Africans, you want to ask a lot of questions. Do you have enough money? Where are you going? Do you know this place? For what? We are in Africa. It must be borderless. One Africa, one country. If you fail to do that, I don't know where we are going. Because divided, we fall.
Wow.
United,
we start.
Wayward, just, I mean, just for the sake of these people. Why?
When I found myself at the Togolese border. Because there were thousands of people queued up and they had no money because these guys were requesting for demi from each and every person. And these guys didn't have. They just wanted to go and see their family in Togo. So they were kept at the border. I don't understand this. Like, this is the Togo border, and they are telling us that we have to pay 2,000 for each passport, and you don't pay, we are not stamping your passport. And when you stamp your passport, no receipt. But according to the ECOWAS law, if you have an ECOWAS passport, it's okay for you to pass through. This is crazy. And she's like, I'm not going to take your passport if you don't give me 2,000. Wow.
Togo gave me headache. I had to pay a lot of money. And I wasn't crossing the border at the Togo border alone. I was traveling with our brother Goshes and Kodosin. When we got to the border, my goodness, I felt sick at the Togolese border because we were there for hours and I was dehydrating. I almost collapsed.
Wow.
Because I had to be talking back and forth. The Togolese insisted we pay huge sums of money because we are on bigger bikes. And we were like, for what reason? So Togo is the toughest border in West Africa so far. Right at the border, we met this guy, middle-aged guy from Switzerland, also on a motorbike. And it was easier for him to process his papers at the border than a Ghanaian. And the Swiss guy literally asked me, I saw the frustration you went through. Wow. What was the problem?
We just stamped our passport into Côte d'Ivoire. But instead of being happy being in Côte d'Ivoire, I have a very big question. Why don't ECOWAS issue visas to all the ECOWAS countries? Why do they keep extorting people in the border?
I don't know.
But how much do you pay?
5,000 CFA.
What is it for? How much do you pay to enter Ghana?
To enter Ghana, we paid. How much did you pay? I can't remember.
5,000.
5,000 too, yes.
What are you paying for? What is it for?
It's for nothing, to be honest. I think that is extortion.
So why don't ECOWAS put visa? We know we're paying for visa. Let us pay for visa. We know what we're paying for. Even if the visa is $100, at least we know we're paying for something.
But these things are not sanctioned.
This doesn't make sense. And to be funny enough, they told us 15,000. We have to price to 5,000. So what are we pricing? Is this rice and beans?
Things like this that happens at our border, it's a shame. Can you believe that? I'm a Ghanaian and I was just going to see my brother in Ivory Coast and I had to go through this. When I was going to Ivory Coast, it's one of the craziest things I've ever heard in my whole life is the fact that these guys were telling me that I need to pay 10,000 francs because my passport has never been to Ivory Coast before, so I have to pay 10,000. You see, I was in a hurry because I had only 6 days, so I didn't want to argue with anybody. I entered the country. I still paid the money. I ended up spending over 75,000 francs when I was going to the country. But I was in a hurry. I had to go do my stuff and get out. That's why I had to pay for the money. But at the end of the day, coming back, going to my own country, telling me that I have to pay again to exit.
I slept in the border so many times. Literally, I had no choice but to sleep at the border. In Liberia border, I slept there for 2 nights because they were just like, you cannot go in, this is our rules, but there are bylaws and it's just, they make it so difficult. It makes you question ECOWAS, like, you know, their freedom of movement, is it really there? Is there such a thing as that?
Is it only in Liberia that you face such a problem?
Liberia, Senegal, Sierra Leone, even Ghana.
What happened in Ghana? We are in Ghana. See, this is the home of Kwame Nkrumah.
Yes.
He wanted a united Africa.
Africa, yes, but that's not the case.
But it's a struggle to enter Ghana.
That was one of the things I wanted to do. But before I embarked on this, a lot of people say, oh, you know, contact the embassy and things like that. And I'm like, I never have to do that when I'm traveling within Europe. Why must I contact my embassy? Why must I have connects and people before I travel freely? So that is one question that I wanted to ask. Can a black traveler explore Africa without any contact? And the answer is no.
No.
And the thing is that we do need to talk about these things. Like you made the good fight. In Ivory Coast, I got to the border at 10 a.m. I wasn't allowed to leave till 7 p.m. I had no choice to drive in the dark. That led to almost a fatal accident. But I shouldn't have been on the road at that time anyways. Because of the border delay, it has a ripple effect. People's life are at stake at a point. It's like ridiculous.
You had an accident?
I did. A really bad one.
It's super crazy knowing that stuff like that are happening at our various borders and our various leaders are quiet.
I think it tells you that we're still stuck in the colonial system. And you could say that for those who push that policy, it's an attempt to make it easier for tourists to get into the country. Okay? But what about African tourism, if that's the case?
Africans need to find a solution to this challenge. It's an African problem and it needs an African solution. And like you're right to say, the African Union needs to find solutions to these challenges.
We need to wake up. All these seemingly kind of handcuff things that we are doing business in against ourselves. It's depressing, really. Truly, truly depressing. I mean, look at Europe. Look at Europe. Look at America.
Borderless.
Can you imagine?
51 countries.
And here,
state,
just because I speak a different foreign language, just because I can't speak French, they have to terrorize me and make me feel so bad. And just because they can't speak English, we have to terrorize them and make them feel bad. We need to emancipate ourselves from mental slavery. This is mental slavery.
Do you think our Africans are ready for free movement of Africans within Africa?
I think Africans are ready, but it's Africa that is not ready.
What do you mean by that?
What I mean is that Africans, if you create the access for them, if you facilitate free movement of people, goods and services, they will take advantage of that. Okay, but the fiscal being of Africa is what is not ready. We haven't made it ready to facilitate the free movement of people, goods, and services.
Whose responsibility is that?
First and foremost is the responsibility of the political superstructure. And what is interesting, you talk about free movement of people. There have been protocols that allow that. There have been protocols for single air transport system or market in the continent. It hasn't been implemented. There are protocols for all manner of stuff that we haven't implemented them. We created ECOWAS, SADC, EC, all of them to allow free movement of goods, people, and services.
It's about time for every African living in Africa to understand that Africa is for Africans. And when you open Africa for Africans, Africans are gonna travel and do business. This will be the effect of borderless Africa.
This market was created from traders coming from Kenya. Yeah, so there are two markets basically in Bulawayo that were created from traders from Kenya. There is this one, then there's one called the Bulawayo Curious Market. Okay. Yeah, so those, remember Bulawayo was a stopover point for traders, for laborers, coming from West Central and East Africa going to Joburg.
Wow.
The Witwatersrand, what we call the city of Joburg now.
Okay.
But when they got here, sort of like there was a coincidence, the economic boom that was occurring here in Bulawayo.
You're such a visionary, man.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
You brought this idea to this country.
That's correct.
Is this something that existed, or you're the first person to do this in Botswana?
No, the first. It was non-existent. It was just building up ideas. It was a single decker, which we imported from UK. Then we brought it here. It was a moving office. Then we changed it from scratch to make a moving hotel.
Listen, I am so impressed. You said you're from?
Born Zimbabwean.
Born Zimbabwean?
Currently based in UK, moving back to Botswana. We are going to be stationed here in Botswana.
Why Botswana?
In terms of stability, it's one of the best countries within Africa, and the economy is quite booming up. And in terms of tourism, you can't beat it.
How long have you been running this restaurant?
2 to 3 years.
Okay. So you came from Ghana just to establish restaurant in Burkina?
Yeah, no, I came from Ghana to visit someone.
Okay.
But when I got here, I realized that I was finding it very difficult to eat. You know, Burkina people don't like pepper.
So
I just decided to seize the opportunity.
Wow. So you believe that the opportunity in here is worth it?
Mm-hmm. Most of the ambassadors eat here. I'm all over, everybody knows me.
You're doing businesses across the continent of Africa, especially sub-Saharan Africa. I want to know if you can share your experience with me doing businesses in Africa from one country to another. How is that like?
Okay, first, Maya, remember that I started moving around Africa some 30-something years ago.
Wow.
Before, when I used to go to Ghana at the very beginning, I have to get into Ghana Airways, and it will hop into 6 different countries before I get there. Now there's a difference. Now air travel also is a bit expensive now. It can be cheaper. What they need to do is to harmonize the tariffs, lower the taxes. Because I'll give you a very good example. The tax between Senegal, when you travel between Senegal and Dakar, which is a 20-minute flight.
Yeah.
The tax on the ticket is more expensive than the ticket itself. So if they remove the tax and make it the local flight, people will travel like what we call poda.
Yeah.
You get to the airport, more airlines will come, and then you can move.
Yeah.
So government needs to remove that tax. Between Benin and Lagos, you know, Cotonou and Lagos, you need to have some shuttle just going in and out. Between Lomé and Accra, same thing.
Yep. What do you think will happen on the continent if Africa becomes borderless?
I am Gambian, and I have investments in 9 African countries. Take, for example, again, here in Sierra Leone, where we are. It's like home for me.
Yeah.
So if they ease up the travels and get more airlines to come in and lower the prices and then take out all this bureaucracy, business will boom up because people will now cross the borders easily.
Clearly, It may mean that Kenyan Airways will have to do some more work. It may mean that Ethiopian Airlines will have to do some more work. Egypt Air may have to do some more work. You know, all the airlines that we have, they may have to do some more work. It means that we can begin to create our own Amazons. Look, a borderless Africa will have no competition. All right? Our music is rich. Our culture is rich. Okay? Our diversity is rich. Okay? Our natural resources are rich. Okay? Our youth are hungry, energetic, and dynamic. And if we begin to work among ourselves, we begin to see how we can collaborate, how we can coordinate, how we can bring our forces together, whether it's economic, whether it's cultural, whatever it is, the more we work together. Because, look, the divide and rule has become an albatross around our neck. And the divide and rule is not like there's division for somebody else to rule. But we have these little fiefdoms that we are controlling and calling ourselves as states and what have you, and MPs and the rest of it. You can still do that and be governors and the rest of it. But I think, really, for me, the political unity doesn't really matter much to Africans. What they care, okay, is the ability to move freely, okay? All right? Party freely, work freely, sell freely. And it doesn't matter.
Marry freely.
And marry freely, as you've done.
You think it's possible?
Why can't it be possible?
Amazing.
The only thing we have is we don't want to accept each other.
You are right.
Africa, the only thing that can help us is to unite. Tailor our education to suit the African style.
Waafrika wanataka, vijana kwa wazee, watoto wanataka Afrika iliyo uhuru bila mipaka yoyote. Na Waafrika wenyewe wameamua, vijana wameamua, na wazee wameamua. Kwa hiyo viongozi wote wa Afrika msikie hili. Waafrika wanataka Afrika iliyo uhuru bila mipaka, ili tuweze kufanya biashara, ili tuweze kuishi pamoja, tuzaliane, tuongeze bara letu, tulime pamoja, tusaidiane vyakula. Hairuhusiwi na haitakiwi nchi moja inakosa chakula wakati nchi nyingine ndani ya bara hili kuna chakula kwa sababu ya mipaka. Kwa hiyo mipaka iondolewe. Huu ndio ujumbe.
I thought that we could do better, and we can't do better. The excuses are too much. I expect our leaders, our presidents, I expect all of you to do better than you're doing. You owe it to us as your citizens, and we are demanding that you do right by us. Pure and simple. Pure and simple.
Ladies and gentlemen, I believe the opportunities are there. All we need is to go out and grab them, and all you need from us is to create an enabling environment to allow you to take advantage of those opportunities. And as I always state, you are not competitors. And I think the big mistake we have made is by making each other competitors. We are not competing. We have yet to satisfy our respective markets. Our problem is that we are not working closer together to meet the demands that our people have.
Indeed, we are not competitors, and it's about time for Africans to embrace each other for us to achieve a prosperous Africa. And a big shout out to Kenya for allowing 52 African countries to enter Kenya freely. A big round of applause to the people of Kenya. And this is what I want to see each and every African country emulating, because it's about time to allow free movement in Africa.
Africa is the future.
You know what? Tag your president, share this video, because before the end of this year, I want to see more countries in Africa joining Kenya, Rwanda, and the rest. Thank you. My name is still WODEMAYA, and I'll see you all in the next one.